Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Division video. And in this video, I want to show you guys the Warlord. Now some of you guys noticed this yesterday during my Incursion Challenge Mode guide that I included my boss drop at the end, and some of you guys saw that I got the Warlord and asked if I was going to do a video on it, and of course the answer is yes. This is just going to be a super quick overview to show you guys what the weapon looks like and what talents it has, but I will of course be following up very soon with a more in-depth weapon review, kind of like the ones that I did for say the Midas, Liberator, etc. So do expect that one on the channel very soon, but for the time being let's just take a look at the weapon as it is. And if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated, and comment down below and let me know if you got this yourself, and also let me know what you think of the weapon. So, just before we get into the weapon itself, just to answer the question that I know that everyone's going to ask, where did this come from? So for me, this came as a boss drop from the challenge mode incursion. I.e. when you defeat the APC, the boss will then drop some loot, and that is where it came from. Now do bear in mind, this is boss loot and not the weekly loot, because if you do an incursion for the first time in a week, you'll also get a special weekly bonus, and that is the one that appears on screen versus the one that drops in front of the boss. And the reason that's important is because this could therefore be farmed. You can repeat an incursion as many times as you want in a week, and you will still get the boss drops, you just don't get the weekly bonus, the one that appears on screen. So while I admittedly got very lucky and got this on my very first completion, in theory, as mentioned, because it comes from the boss drop, there's nothing to stop you from repeating the incursion over and over again to try and get this yourself. Now it could well be that this also comes from other sources, but for the time being the only place I've seen and heard people getting it from is challenge mode. It seemed to make sense because of course it seems like a suitable reward for doing challenge mode. But if you guys have seen it elsewhere, by all means let me know in the comments down below and I'll update the description. Anyway, switching over to the actual gun itself, this is what it looks like. Now it does look pretty ridiculous. I've got to say, I was really hoping, before I actually saw what it looked like, I was really hoping that the Warlord would have a really cool, I don't know why, but I had this kind of dragon scale paint job in my mind. I'm getting a little bit bored of these sort of shiny gold, shiny silver paint jobs. It basically makes me look like a drug lord, and it doesn't really go with anything I've got. So I'm not a massive fan of the paint job, and also if you look at it in certain times of day, it is ridiculously bright to the point you can barely see the gun. Either way, this is what it looks like, and it's based on the AK-74. And of course, if any of you guys have used the black market AK-74, then you'll know that it is a really good assault rifle. So this does come from a pretty good base model, and with appropriate mods, it's pretty easy to get this with relatively good recoil, and it's something that you can easily manage. Now in terms of the stats, this dropped at gear score 204, the base damage is 10.1k, it fires 600 rounds per minute and has a mag size of 30. You can obviously see all the accuracy, reload, range and stability stats there. And then if we take a look at the stats, the first one is capable, where using a skill improves the handling of your weapon for 13.5 seconds. And this requires 2,579 firearms to unlock. You then have ferocious, where damage against elite and named enemies is increased by 14%. And this actually requires points in all three, so it can be a little bit tricky to unlock because you need 2,063 in all of them, so it's a pretty balanced build. And then finally at the bottom you have Unforgiving. This is of course your active perk that is active the second you have the gun. And with this, missing health segments increase your damage. One missing segment is 10%, two is 23.5%. So while it does have some alright talents, again it seems to fall into the same named high-end syndrome, whereby the weapon looks different with its fancy paint job, but because it does have a fixed set of talents, it will invariably be replaced by, say, the unnamed variant, which you could then roll with a variety of different talents. Either way, it's pretty cool. In terms of the actual base model, as mentioned, I am a really big fan of the AKs, so I do like the AK-74 as the model. I'm just not a massive fan of the paint job. And again, if you do mod it in the correct way, then you can have this as a pretty stable weapon with some pretty nice recoil, so it could actually be a viable option. Again, as mentioned, I will be following up later on with a more in-depth review to give you guys my honest opinion on the weapon once I've had a chance to test it slightly more. But for the time being, that was a super quick look at the Warlord. So if you guys enjoyed the video, if you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below and let me know what you think yourself. And thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.